Sir Keir Starmer has been accused of trying to rewrite Brexit after he announced plans to fast-track EU rules into UK law. Legislation announced in the King's Speech will give ministers the power to agree future treaties with Brussels, in addition to planned deals on food, energy and freedom of movement for young people. It was one of 37 proposed bills that critics said included tax rises but nothing to cut the soaring cost of welfare or help struggling employers, as Sir Keir battled to see off threats to his leadership. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch said, "It is not just Starmer, all the pretenders jostling for his job do not have the answers either, because they all believe the same things: more welfare, more state control, more borrowing, more regulation. They are busy arguing over who should drive the car, but the truth is they are all heading in the wrong direction. They have no vision for the future." The speech revealed plans for a European partnership bill to provide a framework of powers to ensure agreements with the EU can be implemented now and in the future. This includes previously announced trade agreements due to be signed at a summer summit, but the bill will also apply to new treaties with the EU in the future, according to a paper published by the government. Parliament will be given a say in any new agreements, but there is no guarantee this will involve a binding vote. Opposition leaders accused the Prime Minister of trying to curry favour with Labour MPs and activists who have never accepted the results of the 2016 EU referendum. Reform Treasury spokesman Robert Jenrick said, "In a desperate attempt to survive, Keir Starmer is trying to rewrite Brexit. He's clearly run out of ideas, and he's lost all authority. He needs to resign immediately." It comes after Sir Keir refused to confirm that he stood by a manifesto pledge not to bring the UK back into the EU single market or customs union. Asked earlier this week whether the red lines remained in force, he said, "What I want to do is take a big leap forward with the EU-UK summit this year and take us closer, both on trade, the economy, defence and security, and that will then be a platform on which we can build as we go forward." Other controversial measures included a new tax on tourism, allowing regional mayors to impose charges on hotel visits. It was welcomed by Labour mayors, including London's Sadiq Khan, but business leaders said it would impose further burdens on struggling employers. Shadow Chancellor Sir Mel Stride said, "While households are struggling with rising costs, Rachel Reeves wants to tax family holidays. This new family holiday tax will be a blow for seaside towns and hit families in the pocket." Tina McKenzie, policy chairman of the Federation of Small Businesses, said, "Proposals to raise visitor levies in England come at a time when the tourism and hospitality sectors are on their knees. If the legislation goes ahead, it must be designed with small firms in mind and avoid being a deterrent to tourism itself." Critics highlighted a failure to reduce the growing benefits bill, with the government merely pledging to respond to ongoing reviews when they publish their findings, while employers accused the government of failing to roll back tax rises and crippling red tape, which is holding back economic growth. Siobhan Haviland, Director General of the British Chambers of Commerce, said, "Businesses will be disappointed to see no clear progress on reforming business rates, which remain a major cost burden for firms across the UK." With the Middle East conflict ratcheting up cost pressures, this was a critical opportunity to deliver meaningful change and give companies the certainty they urgently need. Helen Dickinson, Chief Executive of the British Retail Consortium, said, "The King's Speech comes as households face yet another cost of living squeeze, as the Middle East conflict drives up inflation and prices. Government cannot raise living standards without reducing the costs of doing business. In the face of a looming inflationary storm sparked by the Iran crisis, government must act now to tackle rising energy, tax and regulatory costs at a time when many households are struggling to keep their heads above water." Reform UK's Danny Kruger said, "Most telling of all was what was missing, namely any serious plan to bring down our spiralling welfare bill. Instead, all we got was a wish list from a government out of road and out of ideas." The King's Speech confirmed plans to nationalise British Steel, announced by Sir Keir on Monday as part of his attempt to regain the initiative following huge losses in local elections. Other measures included a crackdown on immigration, championed by Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood. Home Office sources said her changes would go ahead in full, despite opposition from many Labour MPs. New legislation will implement controversial limits to jury trials, backed by Justice Secretary David Lammy, give 16-year-olds the right to vote, create a national police force and introduce a new digital ID scheme. However, the government has abandoned plans to make digital ID compulsory in order to prove the right to work in the UK. The planned Digital Access to Services Bill will state that documents such as a passport can be used instead. Reforms to special needs education, designed to cut soaring costs, are also going ahead. Leaders in the north of England welcome confirmation that a new northern powerhouse rail network linking Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, Bradford, Sheffield and York will be built.